Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer, and reading is a passion of mine. Today we're going to be doing our April reading wrap-up, so get yourself some coffee and something to eat or a treat if you'd like, and settle down and listen. Okay, so I'm filming this I'm going to be uploading this a little late, but that's okay. That's my life, and you know, I'm putting it out there when I put it out there, and that's just that. Anyway, so the first book that I read was Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. This is considered like a cozy dark fantasy. It has folklore, adventure. It dips its toes into dark. Essentially, it's not really that dark. I've read dark. This isn't dark. No. It might have like a darker setting, but is it dark? No. Does it have a little bit of trauma in there? A little bit, but no. Anyway, okay, so and then the setting is in the 1600s, Britain. So that kind of gives you more of an aspect of like what kind of, like how they're going to talk to each other and everything. So our main character is a lake monster called Jenny, hence. Jennies they're not actually born. Instead, Jennies are created from and nurtured into by abandoned babies. It doesn't really go into too much of that information. So there's that. And then a witch is thrown into the Jenny's lake and by her peers and her pastor. The pastor is a malevolent man. He's called the Earl King. The witch is named Temperance. But with this, then that's when the adventure really starts. Okay, so when Jenny discovers the witch in her lake, she approaches the witch very cautiously. And then once she fully can reach the witch without feeling like the witch is going to harm her, she then takes the witch back to her dwelling. And once the witch is secured there, I should just call her Temperance. Anyways, that's when the real adventure begins. I'm not gonna like go too much further into that information. Otherwise, if I go further into it, it's just gonna give you all the information about the book, and then you're not gonna want to read the book. It was a good book. It was different. It was something really different. I haven't read anything about there being like a sea hag essentially in a lake that deals with a witch in the way that the story was told. You know, I love folklore, so you know, I thought it would be a good book to delve into. It's an easy read. You know, the chapters are really short, so they're only like, I think like 3, 4, maybe 5 pages. So it makes it a lot easier to just get all the information in. And I rated this 3 stars. So I mean, you know, it's a good book. I would recommend it for anyone that wants to read something that's different and easy to read. So there's that book for my first book with April. So that was Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. Okay, so the next book that I read was Follow Rain of Shadows and Endings. Oh, sorry. No, it follows the Rain of Shadows and Endings. I'm sorry. I was reading my notes wrong. Okay, so the book is Shadows of Secrets and Sorrows by Melissa Rorick. So this is the second book in the 4-book series of the Legacy series. I am really enjoying this Legacy series. If you haven't read it yet, you really should get into it. They're really easy to read. They're enticing. Anyway, so the Shadows of Secrets and Sorrows, it's a dark fantasy. It's not too dark, I would say. It is a little bit darker, but it's not like really dark. It has morally gray characters, it's romance, and the characters are like fated bonds, it's high emotional stakes, all those things. It's multi-POV, so you're gonna have, you know, some chapters are gonna be of one character's perspective, the next chapter is gonna be a different person's perspective, so I always enjoy those to an extent. I don't always want to be in someone's head the entire time. So that's nice. It is trauma based. There's trauma challenges for all the characters. There's toxic relationships. There's all of those things in it. This book continues our journey with our FMC Tessa. She is learning and navigating her powers. And then we get more from our found family. Axel, he is brutally dark, like brutally dark. And I am here for that. I'm definitely here for that. So I really enjoyed how his character was developing in this book, and I can't wait to read more about him. I hope his story develops and evolves more in the next book, especially with Katya, which it's quite obvious there's something else there. Otherwise he wouldn't have chosen her in the first book, The Reign of Shadows and Endings. So the book is The Shadows of Secrets and Sorrows, and there is so many secrets. So the characters are having secrets amongst each other, and then there's also like you're kept in the dark as a reader as well, which I love those because it's just like, oh, how did I not notice that? So good. Definitely recommend. I gave this book 4.5 stars just because, you know, it didn't quite hit the same as the first book, and Theon, our MMC, he just really, really bothered me. Yeah. Anyway, so the next book was a palette cleanser. Okay. Oh, hold on. Pause. So anyway, that is The Shadows of Secrets and Sorrows by Melissa Rorick. The next book was a palette cleanser. Okay. You always need one of those. Okay. Okay, so the next book is It Kills Me, which is a forbidden dark romance. Okay. This is the first book in the Betrayal series. It's by Penelope Sky. It's dark, mafia, forbidden romance. Our FMC Scarlet is the daughter of a drug kingpin. She's intended to inherit her father's business, which is, it's wild as a female to become in charge of a business that's so brutal and harsh in like mafia and being a kingpin and everything. So but her dad's rules are to have no sexual or romantic relationships within the business. Okay. because of his own personal issues with that he's had in the past. So, of course, her father ends up getting in business with this hot and sexy man named Axel, and it goes on from there. So there isn't much substance to this book, of course. I mean, you're not going to get much substance to an extent with romance books, but the mouth on this man, Axel, so hot. The things that he says to her, how down bad he is for her, how protective he is for her, and how much he stands up for her against her own father. But the descriptive words in this book, Penelope, Sky, like, I'm sorry, but the words that you chose gave me the ick so bad. At one point he calls her kitty pretty. Then the next time he sees her, he says, "Hey, pretty." What? So she, of course, in her mind, she's like, is he saying hello to me? Or is he saying hello to my kitty? Gross. Anyway, so more than anything, like their story, I didn't really care. Like, it wasn't developing a whole lot, in my opinion. It was really annoying. It didn't have much for me, their story. I was actually more interested in what I wanted more development from her father, which, maybe there will be in the next book, but I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't read romance novels for its literacy, you read it for its fun and spicy time that you're gonna get, and it's gonna take you away from other things. It's the same thing if you were to watch porn. You don't watch it for the story. No. That being said, it still gave me that palate cleanser, reading fantasy after fantasy. You need something different, just to not get a slump. Next, so there's that. That was It Kills Me by Penelope Sky. Okay. The next thing I did, I changed some things up. Okay. I needed something more. I needed something different again. So the next book that I read was Nothing Tastes as Good by Luke Dumas. I've done some little short videos about this, but it is like, it's very unhinged, it's very grotesque. But this book is a body horror thriller. Okay. It starts off with our main character, Emmett Truesdale. He's a 300-pound gay man who notices an ad for a clinical trial weight loss drug. It's called Obexity. Immediately my mind went to our newest drug, Ozempic. So there's that. This book explores obesity, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, trauma, mainly childhood trauma, mental health, addiction, social pressure aspect of being thin. There's a lot of social things about being thin or how other people treat you if you're not the right size. So there's that. This drug causes a multitude of different, it has a whole multitude of different side effects. So it causes weight loss, like, you know, the whole point of it though, it like is it's you lose weight fast without having to change your daily routine. You know, you don't have to change your eating habits, you don't have to exercise, you don't have to do anything. We all know that those kind of things don't work. You have to work hard to maintain the body. Side effects are memory loss, behavioral changes, mood swings, eating habits. You start to desire other things that aren't food. So that are like human flesh. This book has like Mormon references, which is interesting. It also has Pokemon references, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's very modern in its references and the things it talks about continuously. How it's written is different. It's weird because then it goes, so it goes like in one set segment and then it jumps time into a different segment in the future and then it goes back. So it continuously will jump randomly. So it'll like be mainly Emmett and everything that's going on with Emmett, and then it'll jump forward to things that are happening in future time. So that kind of like throws you off a little bit while you're reading it. But it was still like, I had a hard time with reading this just because it wasn't really getting me in a way like I wanted it to. So it was just how unhinged it was, how grotesque it was. It was kind of a little overwhelming at times, and it was just too much. And also the modern references, I just didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so I gave this 2.5 stars. Okay. Would I recommend this? I don't know. It was an interesting take on a book. I was really intrigued by the cannibalism aspect of it. So, you know, you take this weight loss drug and all of a sudden you become a cannibal. Like, so that was kind of interesting. It didn't go on the cannibalism like I wanted it to. You know, it didn't dive deep enough for that cannibalism. It needed to be darker. Just darker. You know, if I'm going to be read about a cannibalism, it needs to be dark. Like, I need to be like, oh, my jaw dropped. Yeah, but then it had like a Pokemon reference in there, like continuously, Pokemon references. And then one of the sayings I thought was kind of comical. This character in there named Hank, and Emmett was just like, "Hank, I choose you." So I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, that was Nothing Tastes as Good by Luke Dumas. The next book that I read, and this is my final book that I read, was Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan. This is a beastie of a book. It's the first book in the Legend of the First Empire. It's a 6-book series. And the way that Michael J. Sullivan wrote this, he actually wrote all 6 books before he actually published them. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then I did an audio on this one. And when he does the audiobooks, he does like a personal message in the beginning of it, before the actual book starts, just to like, you know, give you a little backstory as to like why he wrote the books the way that he did and like what his take is on them and stuff. And I really like that. It was nice little touch. So if you're going to do the audiobooks, you can do that. I want to get the physical copies. I don't have them yet, but I do have them on audio. So that's the only reason why I didn't read the physical books yet. But I am planning on purchasing all of them. Anyways, that being said, so Age of Myth is epic high fantasy, okay? The world of, it's going to be the world of Elan, which is over 3,000 years before the Rhaeria Revelations, which I think is the second installment of these books. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Anyway, the book starts off with, sorry, my dog. Hi, buddy. Hi. Okay. So the book starts off with, dude, hold on. He was gonna knock over my camera. Okay. So the book starts off with a human, which they're referred to as runes, killing a Frey, which the Frey basically think of themselves as gods. Also, all the humans, the runes, they think that the Frey are gods. Literal gods. You can't kill them. They're not killable. Anyway, so this one, it's multi-POV. And then there's a girl named Suri in here, and she has a little wolf companion. Can't remember what the wolf's name is, but they are my favorite. I love them. Suri is considered a mystic, so she has like magical abilities. The humans and the Frey have clans for each region that they reside in. And then each clan has their own like building materials, clothing materials, depending on like what is available to them in their region. Each clan has a leader, a chief, essentially, that is going to be in charge of, like they're the boss, You gotta have someone that's you look up to, that's gonna make sure that everyone stays in line. So this book was so good. So good. So action-packed. Definitely recommend 100% if you haven't read this yet. 5 stars, 100%. Although, like, I don't really like to rate books when they're maybe it'll change depending on the rest of the series, but I guarantee this whole series is gonna be 5 stars, god tier, like books, 100%. And the ending of this book left on such a cliffhanger. Michael J. Sullivan, you sly dog, did not see that coming at all. So crazy. Anyway, so that is Age of the Myth by Michael J. Sullivan in the Legend of the First Empire series. All right, so now we're gonna go into my May TBR. So I did not get to finish my Book of the Month pick in April. Okay, so we're going to finish Bloodbound. Okay. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that here soon. Then I need to continue on with the Legend of the First Empire series. They are chunky books, so it does take some time. I mean, granted, I am doing audiobooks, but it's still, you can't, there's so much information that it's giving to you. You can't just sit and consume all of it. You can't just like be busy doing things, cleaning things, driving, whatever it is, while you're listening to the audiobooks. You need to take time. It's one of those things that's like, it develops and anyway, I'm ranting. Okay. All right. Next book. I plan to read Seek the Traitor's Son. This is my May book of the month pick. There's that one. And then the next book that I plan on reading is going to be Evil and Me. After that, we'll see. We'll see what I end up reading. I only wanted to do 4 books just to make sure that I have a solid base of what I want to read. I am a mood reader, so will I read all of these in the month of May? We'll see. I guarantee I'll finish Bloodbound, and I guarantee I will finish The Legend of the First Empire next book. But will I read Evil and Me? I don't know. We'll see. I've been wanting to read this for a while. Will I read Seek the Traitor's Son? I hope so. We'll see. And that's everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Go read a book. Go outside. It's so nice. At least here. I don't know how the weather is anywhere else, but here, it's nice. Perfect. Anyway. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye.